G'day students and welcome to my podcast. Today I will be talking about what is a recount and what language we can use while we are using a recount. If you hear some noises in the background, that's just the TV show 7 News Switch. I might even stop talking from time to time so you can hear the therapist talking about Mark and Caitlin's relationship. But anyway, let's get back to the recount business. We are going to talk about language, and in particular we're going to be talking about the types of tenses, verb tenses we're going to be using. We need to get those right, because if we use the wrong tense it stops being a recount. It starts being a different set of type of writing. And so we really need to be careful about how we do it. It might be sort of common how we use tenses in conversation. It might be fairly easy, but it can be fairly difficult when it gets into writing. And I will admit, I have seen tenses being used the wrong way in writing, and so let's try and get it right. So here are the three types of verb tenses. We have the past tense, the present tense, and the future tense. So mastering these and getting these correct, you will also feel like yourself, like you're a master of time, because when you can master these, you can start to tell stories that span all of time, and that is an amazing thing. So let's jump into it. So as you can see from past here, I'm going to put in a verb which is go, and if we put that into past tense, that becomes went. So like I went to the shop. In present tense it would be go, and in future tense it would be will go. So you can see the difference here. These are all situated in three different times: past, present and future. Now all of the recounts, as mentioned before, recounts are using the past tense. So you're actually saying things that have already happened. Now it's a skill to learn to sort of scan through your work after you've done a recount and check those tenses. So really look out for what the tenses should look like, and if they don't look that way, then we need to change those so that it can remain a recount. If they were in future tense, for example, that's a different kind of skill. We're looking at predicting. So a good skill to have, but not the focus at this time. So here are some examples of how you can change verbs from present tense to past tense. In most cases, you can just add ed. So if you see an ed at the end of a verb, that's automatically been put into past tense. I jump changes to I jumped. I walk changes to I walked. And I look changes to I looked. But obviously, there are some words that don't fit into that particular category. So you might have the word, for example, sleep. You don't say I sleeped. And we don't hear that often, obviously, when people are talking. But it is fairly easy to get confused when you are writing it down onto a piece of paper. And just to give you an example here of the other ways that verbs change their form to suit a past tense. Some of them change the words a little bit more significantly than just adding ed. So sleep changes to slept, eat changes to ate, fight changes to fought. So that's basically all I wanted to talk about, just to make sure that you do have your tenses in the right, or your verbs in the right tense as you do a recount. Just as a reminder again, it will always be in past tense for that recount. So just learn to recognise where you might have put it in the wrong tense, and just be really careful which one you'll use for the recount. Thank you.